Hey everyone, this is BlackRocketC and welcome back to this channel. With the Vapor Eagle being released for C builds, I think it's time to look at this chassis again and demo a build that I showed but didn't get a chance to go over in my initial review video. If you're not familiar with the chassis, I'll link it in the description. It gives us a quick survey of what I think are the best builds on each variant. The only one I didn't go over is the Rival Hero, which is the worst of the VGLs and not really worth mentioning unless it gets some serious quirks later on. I wanted to make this part of my playing the meta series because, in my opinion, the VGL is the best medium mech in the solo queue today. However, unlike other videos in this series, I'm not demoing a very standardized build because no builds have been really established. Because it's capable of doing so many things, the VGL hasn't become as cookie cutter as other chassis. A few of the more popular builds are the mid-range Dakka VGL-2, which fellow YouTuber Brios did a video on recently, and I'll link that video in the description below. Another one is the ATM33 or 36 VGL3. Among all the builds on the VGL that I've tried thus far, my favorite is the dual UAC 10 PPC VGL2, which will be the focus of this video. The main reasons are that it has good sustain and burst DPS, it's not as team and map dependent, and it's more NASCAR friendly than builds with weapons on the left arm. The ATM build can be very powerful, being able to do up to 108 points of damage per alpha in the 3 damage per missile range bracket. But the ATM playstyle needs a certain set of situations for it to work. For example, it's terrible when the battle takes place in extreme close quarters, under your min-range, or where enemies can quickly hide behind buildings. It also relies on the team for protection against mechs that push you. If your team isn't proactive enough, you don't get many indirect locks, which would require you to take more risks in getting your own. ATMs get shredded now by multiple AMSs, which more players are taking as they start to learn about the missile health nerfs. NASCAR isn't as common in the lower tiers, but in the upper tiers it's currently the norm on certain maps. When using a left stack build, peeking the right side results in more exposure times if you have a left arm weapon. But if you position yourself on the left side of cover, then you're more at risk of sudden team rotations, leaving you as the last guy if you don't see it quickly enough. When you're able to peek right, you'll more easily notice team rotations as you see friendlies start moving ahead of you. Despite what I said, I would still suggest trying out both of these builds and you might not encounter the same set of issues. Let's take a closer look at the ERPPC UAC 10 VGL2. With this build you get 2 shield arms and you can peek both sides equally well. The ERPPC makes the build a little hot, so ideally you'd use it when you're under 50% of your heat cap or when the UACs are jammed. When it's late game and the engagement opportunities increase, you'll start to use the ERPPCs infrequently, and you'll rely mostly on the autocannons. If you need to lose a side torso, give them the right side. You can also pop tart a little bit, and the VGL quirks can help you do that with just a single JJ. In regards to positioning, I usually try to stay a little ahead of my team and take shots early on in game, but not too far as the build is a little bit slow for a medium, and occasionally you'll need to fall back onto your team. This is something I think the more fragile, fire support oriented VGL builds don't do quite as well. These early shots can change the pace of the game by making some enemies play more conservatively for the rest of the match. As with pretty much every other medium though, you try not to get shot and position yourself at angles where your shots are not being anticipated. The high burst damage of the build allows you to take advantage of those short windows of opportunity, but still allows you to continue punishing targets when they're not looking your way. You have up to 55 points of burst damage if you successfully double tap the 2 UACs, and that damage can quickly add up to 95 points in another 3 seconds. For my skill tree, I'm getting all heat gen nodes at the expense of other valuable nodes like cooldown, but it's usually heat that's limiting my damage output, not the cooldown rate. Magazine capacity and UAC jam duration nodes are also necessary. I get most of durability and max out cool run. I would strongly suggest taking double cool shots if you have the C builds to spare. Okay, let's take this into a match. Alright, here we are on River City. River City is a pretty neutral map for this build. Got a lot of corner peeking opportunities, which this can do pretty well. This Night Star somehow decided to suicide rush our team. I don't know why he did this completely alone. He gets wrecked like within the first 2 minutes of the match. I also forgot my override. You should have your override on. Well, I think it would help a lot of players to have override on when they're playing this mech because of that ERPPC's heat generation is so hard to predict, but it's up to you. So looking at our left side here, so we're going to use our sort of left side peeking abilities. As I said, this mech can peek both sides fairly well. So we're going to just look around the corner and see what's going on there. We don't want to 1v1 that Black Widow necessarily, but if we have to, we can. We almost have the same amount of firepower. So if look at our positioning here, like pretty close to my team. Oh, that's some team damage right there. That happens. Anyways, look at our positioning right here. So we're trying not to be the focus of enemies' attention. So we have heavies and assaults right next to us. So we shouldn't be the focus. We shouldn't be prioritized here. Just using our incredible firepower to support our heavies. Okay, now you see I'm kind of like on the pretty much close to being the leftmost mech on the team, except for that blood asp. So gotta be a little bit careful. Back off. See, the blood asp is backing off here, so I don't want to be the leftmost mech, the first mech that people see. You should also notice that I'm laying off the PPCs when I'm getting hot. Just rely on the autocannons. So when you're base heat, go ahead and use those PPCs. Under 50%, go ahead and use the PPCs, but above that, go for just the UX only. And so it's almost done, this match. There's something shooting me with Gauss over at Echo 7. Probably a stealth mech.
Looks like Echo 7.
And yes, it's a stealth Thanatos, which is often the last mech to die because it's kind of hard to find and stays far away from the rest of his team. But that ERPPC, as you can see, cancels out that stealth armor, making it easy for our team to get locked on him. It's a pretty quick match. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want more videos about current and past metamechs, check the playlist that I will link in the description. And I'll see you next time.